Dr. Alan Leciphany.
And Dr. Jenna Moragello. And today we want to continue talking about how to know that you're making the right decision, how to know that you're making the right change in your life. And so we've already talked to you about changing your vibration and tuning into what feels good versus what doesn't. But what we haven't talked about is neutrality. And I would say that neutrality is one of the biggest factors to making sure you're living a life that's in alignment with who you are and your higher self. And so, Alan, I'd love to hear your thoughts on neutrality and how we can use that as an agent for change.
Yeah, I think we've been maybe conditioned or taught too much that we need to have a passion for what we're doing, or we need to have a desire to change, for example. And a lot of times what happens is the reason that that's not super helpful most of the time is that we kind of run out of that very quickly. That's like putting elbow grease into something. It's not very long before you run out of elbow grease and you're just using pain. And then that isn't very helpful very long either. Uh, but when we're fueling things with desire, it's not a very stable way to do it. And so a lot of times what happens is when we have a very strong desire, we grip on the whatever we're trying to change tighter. Like we put a lot of energy into that, and usually it comes in the form of like grasping at things, and it becomes really hard to change it. And many people would probably recognize that the things that are easiest for them to change are generally the things that mean the least amount to them. Like if
Mm.
something means a lot to you, it's harder to change. Like if you're worried about, for example, if somebody comes to you with a problem, a friend comes to you with a problem, most people are rock stars with that. And then if you have your own problem, your life's over and nobody understands and nobody can help you, right? Because it's personal and it's meaningful to you. And so the less context and less meaning, the easier it is to change. Because the more willing we are to let go of it, and when we let go of it, we can make the change really easily. So this is kind of what I would do maybe in a session for a like a pre-setting of getting people ready to change. Or and we would start with neutrality, and basically neutrality means a blank slate from which to start, and usually it's positive. Like they say that like 95% up to 95% of all thoughts are negative. Well, that's just because we have these old mind patterns running. And what I found is that when people are neutral, that same percentage of time probably is leaning into the positive. So neutral with humans generally leans into the positive as long as you don't have a lot of old processes going or stories. So anyway, when we think about desire or knowing or wanting change, we if we compare those and we use our internal knowing like we've done before, we can say like uh, change, no change, and see if they feel equal. And they should feel kind of confusing to you, like you don't exactly know what they mean, like change, no change, like I don't feel anything. Where wanting or not wanting, maybe so I could feel a difference for me wanting and not wanting. Not wanting was actually way stronger than wanting. So if you find one of those or both of those that are more energy behind, or they feel like they're tangible in your hands, for example, I like to play the shell game to fix that. And the way we play the shell game is we take wanting, not wanting, and then we go wanting and not wanting, and we move it back and forth, wanting, not wanting, not wanting, 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 not wanting, and just go back and forth. You can't remember. And then you look at your hands and you say wanting, not wanting, and generally it won't make any sense to you. And so the things you can compare are changing, not changing, better, not better, wanting, not wanting, um, hopeful, not hopeful, possible, not possible. All of those should feel like doesn't mean anything to me. It should like it should be like that. Ooh, it's a nice fire dancer. I love the fire dancer. Yeah, that's the best thing ever. But it should be like a mug. Like, let's turn that around so you don't see the fire dancer, because otherwise you say, great, not great, right? Just a mug. But if you just look at like a coffee cup, like, that's not good or bad. It's just like a tool, right? And so when we say better, not better, or changing, not changing, different, not different, they should all be very equal. And once we have those in balance, or once we get balance with them, then you'll see that now your change becomes a lot more like helping your friend with their change. And now you can be the expert again. And so being neutral is really a prerequisite for being a self-change expert without a lot of effort. And I guess that's my take on that.
Why isn't that in the self-help books?
That's a good question. I I think a lot of things are just regurgitated,
Yeah.
and we just keep trying harder and not trying differently. Um, and we we focus a lot on what we do and not how we be, all that kind of stuff. So this is a different approach to take, but you'll find that the more you do this, the more you're neutral, the less you have to overcome all of the momentum that was all in the wanting or not wanting. It's really hard to see the change when something's way out of balance. In a healing session, it's healing, not healing, better, not better, different, not different, wanting, not wanting, um, and pain, no pain. Like, all of that, once we make that neutral, then it's really easy to change it, because it's not like we're talking about them.
Hmm.
And the the easiest way to block something is when somebody's grasping onto it and you're trying to change the thing that's in their hand. Like, really hard to make it to work. And it's the same thing when we're working with the universe. So that the tighter we hold on to something, or the more we want it, the less willing we are to see the the answers that are out there. So in the next segment, we'll actually talk about um, not putting the mechanics in front of the miracles. So for now, so long.
Farewell. Loosen your grip, comment, subscribe. Let us know how we can help you. Until next time.
Perfect. Thank you.